Today in the show we have Verify by Fox on Polygon, Arbitrum custom fees, Deriv and Solana Pay, and much more. I'm your host, Mauricio Magaldi, and this is Block Drops, your weekly digest on blockchain for business. These news are not a form of endorsement, sponsorship, or encouragement for consumption and are meant for educational purposes only. Those of you who've been following for a longer time might recall me saying AI needs blockchain. And I say this in a very specific context. The AI is about data, right? AI is all about data, and it's also about all the data that we've been offering over the last 30 years over the internet. So that's the corpus, the data that's used to train AI. But all of that data, it's just spread out, and it's not traceable to anything. And even if it's traceable, it's obviously debatable, right? Arguably traceable. So blockchains, by its very own nature of providing immutable, traceable public data, serve to increase the amount of, one, how we determine origin, but also how we determine how trustworthy the data is. So in that sense, this piece of news that came this week sounded very promising, right? Fox Corporation, arguably one of the largest media conglomerates in the world, is taking on their own hands the task to not fight, but address the challenges of ensuring provable provenance for media to avoid the risk of AI-generated media populating all over the internet with important election years ahead, both in the US, also in Brazil. We're all worried about how the deep fake and the fake news powered by AI are going to influence how politics is made in the world, and it has been affecting. So Verify, which has been launched in a closed beta back in August of last year, has already tagged cryptographically 89,000 pieces of content, both text and images. They are all signed to verify from sources within the Fox News conglomerate, like Fox News, Fox Business, Fox Sports, and also Fox TV affiliates. The announcement comes as the protocol is being open source, and that will allow the public to obviously contribute to the source code, even fork the source code. That's how open source software works. And media companies can go to Verify to know how to use it, to tag their own pieces of content, or even validate pieces of content that they have received, while consumers can go to the tool to confirm whether a digital piece of content from the Fox News participants is a valid source, right? This is being developed by the Fox technology team, is being built on the Polygon POS, the proof of stake sidechain of Ethereum, and it's aiming to not single-handedly, but become a part of how AI-generated text and images will be traceable to the original material that's being published online. The thing is, this is not the first attempt to such a tool. The New York Times has tried it before. The Associated Press has timed it before. There are other solutions from startups that have tried this. But the big challenge is not the technological challenge. It's more on the human side of things. As humans, researchers show that we are inclined to share fake news 7 times faster than we would share a trustworthy piece of news, which means that this particular technology might be able to help prove that a piece of news is fake, but it will do not a lot, to be frank, to reduce the speed in which these things are shared across the internet. So here's to hoping that this is the time where we actually go and do something and start to actually incorporate in our behavior the fact checking, which is why these things are useful. Is now you have a source that tells you when this original piece of news that is now traceable has been originated. So if we incorporate that checking habit in our own behavior, well, then these pieces of tooling across the internet might become very handy. Otherwise, we won't get there. So we're still hoping that this is something that now, with, I want to say, quote unquote, threat of AI in all shapes and forms, can now be addressed again by blockchain. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably heard me say that without better UX, there won't be mass adoption of Web3. You probably heard me say it, probably read me writing about it. So, and I think we're seeing progress. We saw last year the introduction of a concept called account abstraction across especially VM chains, where a smart contract plays the part of the wallet and kind of executes some of the user behavior on behalf of the user when interacting with the blockchain. One of the things that is possible to be done with account abstraction is to, yes, abstract the fee payment. It's possible to pay Ether or Matic to use, say, Ethereum or Polygon as chains without even knowing that you're paying for those gas fees using those cryptocurrencies, because the account abstraction contract can actually go and sell some of your, say, USDC, swap it for the native token in that particular blockchain, and you as a user wouldn't know you're paying a fee to use the infrastructure. The thing is, this is a smart contract running on the chain. So now we have Arbitrum Orbit introducing custom gas tokens, which means that any project running on Arbitrum Orbit can actually offer their tokens, their ERC20 tokens, to pay for transaction fees, and then the custom token function will help address the swap between that token fee and the fee in the blockchain, which means that you don't even have to have Ether or Arbitrum's native cryptocurrency to actually pay for fees and make it work for you. This concept in the Cardano ecosystem has an equivalent. It's called the Babel fees, and the Babel fees stems from the name, the biblical name, the Tower of Babel, where people would speak different languages and couldn't really connect with each other. But the Babel fees, it's the opposite concept, where you can actually pay for transaction fees in the blockchain without having the actual native token of that blockchain, which again creates this abstraction and makes working with any blockchain a lot more intuitive. You don't have to guess, right? The parallel in the internet would be, if for you to use the internet, you would have to, say, have in your bank account the currency from the country where you're visiting the website. So let's say I want to visit a website in Japan. I would have to have yens on my bank account to pay for the megabytes that I'm downloading from the Japanese website. That is the behavior we see in most blockchains today, and projects like custom gas tokens on Arbitrum Orbit, or the Babel fees in the Cardano ecosystem, the upcoming Babel fees in the Cardano ecosystem. What they do is that they abstract the need for you to pay for your gas fees with that one specific cryptocurrency for that one specific blockchain, which makes it all the more user-friendly, which I hope makes it even better for people who are trying to break it into Web3. So very interesting. There are a few projects already lined up in the Orbit in the Orbit ecosystem. Outlayer, Aviv World, Caldera XYZ, Conduit XYZ, Polychain, Senko Game, Shy Games, and more. So if you are trying to break into Web3 as a builder, This might be also one of the things that you might want to consider for your project UX, to use account abstraction and also use custom gas tokens to make it easier for your users to not only find you, continue to use you, but also to keep using you because the UX is so much better. So again, here's my vote of confidence for Web3 that UX will be fixed, and I hope that 2024 is the year for us to do that. Web3 allows projects to compose, meaning you can actually use other smart contracts and tokens as infrastructure for your own smart contracts and tokens, and this displays well when you're trying to combine what I do best with what you do best, and then create a third thing that makes the work a better place. This is very handy to understand how Deriv, a global online brokerage that specializes in trading and derivatives, is doing with Bank, right? Written BVNK, which is a global regulated payments platform that specializes in crypto payments and pairing with traditional systems. They announced a partnership where Deriv is now able to use Solana Pay for payments for their 2.5 million customers around the globe, and make them possible to select digital assets as means of deposits and payments. This obviously comes on the back of the recent quote-unquote Solana summer, for which the market cap of Solana has grown over $40 billion. And obviously market cap equates liquidity, which equates the ability to pay for things using digital assets. So it makes sense that Solana is being used in this particular use case, and we obviously want to know whether this is just Solana, but also whether this is going to expand to other blockchains. This collaboration between Bank and Deriv is part of Deriv's payment strategy to enable them to meet their demands for digital currencies based on their global customer base and also their customer requirements. Their decision stemming from requests, according to Thiago Garbim, Senior Payment Solution Operations Executive at Deriv. He said, and here I quote, "We've noticed a growing interest in cryptocurrencies like Solana and Polygon among our clients. By partnering with Bank, we can effectively respond to their needs. We started with Solana due to high client demand, and we plan to expand our crypto payment options in the future. Bank's excellent support has made this a very smooth transition," end quote. So this, again, as we see more and more of these institutional players coming on the back of clarity from regulators from major jurisdictions, that recall that just last week we saw Bitcoin spot ETF being approved by the SEC, with a number of issuers now approved to operate the ETF. This slowly but surely gives the industry a little bit more legitimacy. It removes a lot of fear from traditional finance folks to use the infrastructure and the associated digital assets, which obviously has been preventing them from accessing the infrastructure not only as a asset class but also as a payments infrastructure, which makes it easier 24/7 globally reachable for their trading and banking needs. So it's interesting to see a trading platform partnering with a crypto payments platform using a second, maybe third generation blockchain in Solana, and hoping to expand to other blockchains as the business grows. This might be an indication that, according to what we've seen, that crypto as an infrastructure is now here to stay. These changes in the regulatory landscape seem to point to a legitimacy of the industry. So we're hoping to see more of this coming across not only Europe, where they play, but also across the world, especially in the global south. because the week was packed full of news. Here's more. JP Morgan and Bain launched their tokenization report with challenges and opportunities. TRM Labs renewed their crypto policy report for 2023. Nomura launches a Libre protocol and will launch with Brevin Howard and Hamilton Lane tokenized funds. Circle, the issuer of, among others, the USDC stablecoin, filed for an IPO in the US. The BIS, the Swiss National Bank, and the World Bank are launching Promissa, a project for multi-country promissory notes. Catch us online. We're on Instagram at blockdropspodcast, on Twitter at blockdropspod or 0x Mauricio. We're on Lens at blockdrops.lens. We have a newsletter on LinkedIn. Write to us at blockdropspodcast@gmail.com, and you can listen to the Blockdrops podcast at Spotify, iColab, Faberbun Tech, and all of the other major streaming platforms. Shoutouts today for the people who share the links you will find in the episode notes. Tyron Loban, Ari Redboard, Thiago Amaral, Adi Tripathi, Pedro from Zarosfi, Leonardo Cavalcanti, Emma Meyer, and Carlos Arena. Don't forget to leave your ratings on your favorite player. This is all for today. Stay rare, stay weird. LFG.